Welcome to part 6 in my mobile automation series utilizing Cucumber and Calabash. So today we're going to be looking at what a feature file is. And then we're going to be looking at some different keywords that can be used that include feature, scenario, the given, when, then, but, and, syntax, background, and outline. And then we're going to create some feature files / scenarios we're going to be automating in future videos. So the first thing we're going to want to do is open up Eclipse. And over here on the left is our framework. In the last video we ran the CALABASH-ANDROID gen file that generated us this temporary feature file. So inside of here we have a .feature file, and if you right click this, you can open with the Cucumber editor if you downloaded the Cucumber Eclipse plugin. As you can see, we get nice syntax coloring. If not, you can just open it with a text editor, that's fine. Alright, so let's go over the general concept of a feature file. So the first keyword in a feature file is feature. And what's this keyword do? It allows you to name the feature. Think of this as a way to group your tests. So if you have a feature called sign-in screen, all of the scenarios below should be related to the sign-in process. You can have many different features in your automation framework. So you could have your sign-in screen, you could have your account page, you could have the search functionality. Any feature or functionality that you want, you can create a feature file for that, or any particular spot in the app that seems appropriate. Okay, so the first feature we're going to be writing scenarios for is the My Schedule feature. And for you guys to get a good understanding, I have an emulator open, and in the Google I/O conference app you can see there is a menu item called My Schedule. If you click here, it brings you to your schedule. As you can see, on the first day you have one session. Clicking to the second, you have numerous ones. And same thing for the third day. So that's what we're going to be writing scenarios for. Okay, so the next main keyword is scenario. Think of a scenario as any test case that you have. You can have as many scenarios as you want in a feature file. Because this is the My Schedule feature file, we can go ahead and create a scenario called Day 1. Now, this test is just going to verify that when you open the schedule and you click the May 27th, you're on the first page. So now that we have a scenario called Day 1 and we have an outline on what we want that test case to do, we need to come up with a way to write steps for it. So I've came up with some, so we can delete out these predefined ones. And as you can see, I wrote, given I'm on my schedule, when I tap May 27th on my schedule, then I see badge pickup session. So let's just verify that's exactly what I said. So given I'm on my schedule, boom, I'm on my schedule. When I tap May 27th, boom, then I see the badge pickup session. So that's all the test is going to do. It's just going to be simple navigation and then verify that I can be on here. So let's take a quick peek at what these given, when, and then mean. So the given, that's just where you want the app to start. I don't want to necessarily be testing that I am on my schedule, but I do need to be there. The when, these are your actions, usually tapping or scrolling or doing some sort of action. So when I tap the button, essentially, these are your actions, and then your then, these are your verifications. So then I see the badge pickup session. you're verifying that you're seeing a certain behavior after performing an action. Keep in mind that the given, when, and then all have no meaning besides that they're a keyword. You can, when you relate these later with your step definitions, it actually doesn't matter if you say given, when, or then. They're all interchangeable, but they all perform the same function, that the given, when, and then all correspond to some text later on. And as we get into how step definitions relate, you'll get a more clear picture of that. We're going to go ahead and just speed through and make two more scenarios really quick. Okay, now that I've put in two more scenarios, we can look at the second one. It's almost identical to the first one, except for it's called day 3. It's tapping the May 29th button, and it's verifying it's seeing the breakfast session. Okay, now let's look at the third scenario. Open Keynote session. As you can see, the first two steps are almost identical. Now the third step, and I tap the Keynote session using the AND keyword. You could use when again if you wanted, but I think it's a lot easier to read that the second action has an and instead of when. It's up to you, but I prefer using an and. You can also use but. In certain situations, all 5 of those words all are going to have the same meaning on the next level in the step definitions. It's all about readability and clarity for whoever's actually going to be reading the Cucumber's files. So when I tap the Keynote session, then I am on the Keynote's information page. So then we would just verify that we're on this page, and that would be the test. Alright, and now you can see that's a basic feature file. But if you notice, there's something in common. All 3 of these scenarios in this feature have the same thing, given them on my schedule. What you can actually do is remove these from all of the scenarios. And you can use another keyword called background. And as you can see, keywords are changing colors. And we can just go ahead and paste this in. So background, I am on my schedule. What this is going to do is every time it launches a scenario, the first thing it's going to do is run the background step. Now keep in mind, you can have as many background steps as you want, and your scenarios can be as long as you want. But it's a general good rule of thumb not to have your scenarios go very long, because the longer they go, the more likely is you're not testing that one specific item. You want your tests to only be targeting one item when you're testing, otherwise you don't actually know when a test fails, if it's failing because of reason A or reason B. Okay, now there's one last thing I want to go over. Otherwise, we've covered almost every single keyword. So we're going to go ahead and just copy this feature, paste it right here, and we're going to call this one menu. So what we did is just create a new feature file. Open it with our editor. We can delete all this. Okay, so I went ahead and pasted in a feature file that I've created. So this one's called menu, and I've created a scenario outline. Now this is a little bit different keyword, and it actually uses a table. So I've called this menu navigation. So when I tap the menu item, and what this is doing is grabbing from the table called menu item, and it's going to be placing in the value. And it's going to actually run this scenario one time for each row in this table. So since we have 4 different menu items listed here, it's going to run this test 4 times. So it's the first test, it's going to grab my schedule, and it's going to place my schedule right here and right here. So all this test is going to do is open the menu button, click My Schedule, verify it's on the My Schedule page. And it's going to do that for social, videos, and settings as well. Now, that doesn't seem all that useful. You could just write those scenarios out yourself independently. But let's take a look at a wider range of this. I've created another scenario outline. This isn't one we will be using, but it's a good way to illustrate how powerful a scenario outline can be. So as you can see, this one is given I'm on the sign-in page. When I enter the email, it will grab this email, and I enter the password here. Then I will receive the error here. And you can do this for every single different error message, such as the password's missing, the password is too short, invalid password, email doesn't exist, etc. as many times as you want. And it's just going to run a single test grabbing all of the values that you've provided each time. So in this example, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different tests you're running using the same exact code, just different parameters. Okay, the last thing I want to go over in this video is how do we run the feature file that we just wrote and execute the scenarios. So what we got to do is open up a file explorer at the location of which our framework is under. Type in cmd. This will open up a command prompt at our location, and we can type in bundle execute CALABASH-ANDROID run in the APK name. As you can see, it has started off by firing off our feature file called My Schedule, and it is running the background step right now. And here we have a simulator open, and as you can see, it is installing the application onto our simulator right now. Now keep in mind, in later videos we will improve upon this process of which we are running. We will later be creating profiles, and we also will be creating scripts so we don't have to keep going into command prompt and running this over and over. So as you can see, scenario 1 has launched, and we are officially running our tests. Unfortunately, we haven't done anything with our tests. As you can see, you can implement step definitions for undefined steps with these snippets, and they kind of give you some blank sample code that you can base your tests around. So this is essentially saying there was 3 scenarios, 7 steps, and they were all undefined, meaning we haven't actually wrote the code behind the steps. In the next video, we'll go over how to correlate our feature file to our step definition, and we will start turning these from yellow into green or red. Alright, and that wraps it up for this video. Thank you for watching.